find him a proper placement. We were notified by Ms. Trish J that the board did not like his placement for his employer's house, a straight parole. So we've been trying to reach out to different work release facilities. Currently, we do have an application into one of the transitional houses in Des Moines. We have not heard back from them, but that's where we are.
Okay, so you're saying that the HPQ to Robert Butler is not approved?
Trish J emailed and said that whoever reviewed the border parole plan denied that.
Okay, that works for me. Okay, board, did you guys have questions?
I do. So where exactly are we looking to parole to, or is it not for sure yet?
It's not for sure yet. We do have an application into one of the transitional homes in Des Moines. Hope House maybe? I don't remember off the top of my head. So we're waiting on a response from them. Marshalltown Residential said they would accept his diversion if we need it, but he really wants to try the transitional housing.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, anything else?
Nope, that's it.
All right, I think we're ready. You can bring him in.
Okay, let me go grab him. He's right outside my door.
Morning. Morning. How we doing?
Good morning, Mr. Edwards. You see me on your screen? I'm in the office myself. Okay. I've lost my voice. I sound really funny, so I'm sitting here in case I start coughing or hacking or anything like that, so I can mute. But my guys are in the office here with us. So. Have you been in front of the Board of Parole before?
Yes.
Okay. Would you give me your full name and number to get us started?
Daniel Floyd Edwards, 679-2325.
Great. I'm going to read you our little spiel to get started, and then I'll update you on how we do our work in case you have any concerns. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Okay. All right. So before we get started, I just want to remind, this is the three-member panel of the Board of Parole. My name is Renee Schulte. You'll also see Jesse Rinkin, and you'll see James Moses, the three-member panel that's going to do your interview today. Before we get started, we want to remind you this is a public forum on this Zoom, in that some people are listening, but they're not going to participate. Does that make sense?
Sure.
And in the course of the interview, we might talk about some confidential information, things like your treatment history, your medical history, mental health history, stuff like that. Are you okay with that? And can we proceed?
Yes.
Fantastic. So just a reminder how it works. We're going to ask you some questions, the three of us. And once you've answered those questions, you'll get a turn to tell us anything you want us to know. And maybe we didn't ask or what we forgot to ask about. It'll be your turn. After that, we'll go into deliberation where we make a decision. You'll be able to see us and hear us, but it won't be time for you to talk. And then I'll come back at the end with our final decision. Does that work?
Perfect.
Great. All right, so kick us off and get us started. Can you start about what brought you into prison this time? What happened and what was the crime that you're here for today?
I am here for eluding the police and second-degree theft. I was with my girlfriend. Me and my girlfriend got in an argument. I got out of the car, started walking. I was walking. Usually she'd come back to pick me up, you know, but I was walking quite some distance, and I walked along. There was this truck and a trailer sitting in just a driveway. I think there's a cell phone tower there, and the keys were in it, so I got in it and drove it. I started walking, and then later in the day ended up eluding the police, and that's basically what happened.
Okay. Sounds like we have So we're gonna try to see if we can fix it. It sounds like it's on your end. Do you know if you guys found that? Do they have more than one person on a computer in your office?
No, no, just me and her sitting here.
Okay.
Jesselyn, is the volume loud in there?
It's up all the way.
Would it be possible to turn it down and still hear us?
We can try it.
Okay,
How's that?
Is that better?
Renee talk.
sounds a little bit better. Renee, can you say something?
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yes. That sounds better. Yeah.
We can still hear you.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, sorry about that.
That's okay. All right. So in that situation, were you using drugs at the time of your crime?
I was under the influence of alcohol.
Okay. So talk to me about your alcohol use. How much were you using? What were you doing?
I mean, I drank, I would work all day and I would drink at night every now and again, you know. Have I been intoxicated before? Yes. Was I intoxicated this time? Yes, I was.
Is that the only drugs you were using at the time?
Throughout my life, I've used pretty much anything that there is. Growing up, I started getting high when I was 13 years old, and pretty much that was just the thing to do then. And then throughout life, I've dibbled and dabbled with whatever, you know.
So how long do you think you've been clean and sober for the longest period in your life?
Couple years at a time.
And was that on the inside or the outside?
On the outside, I was clean for in 2002 to 2004. I was clean, lived a normal life, and then I had a girlfriend, and I ended up having a child, and then life went haywire, and here I am, you know. I've just been a roller coaster in life. This is what's going on. You know. However, now I've turned 40 years old, and I come to the realization that I've been just wasting my life, and I'm going to continue to live. And that now the system has an option, because usually for me it's driving, you know, like I would be driving, get a driving charge, and say Skippy, and I end up back here. Well, now I believe, I have the information on it. I've been given the information that I can get on a program, a payment plan, which I have all of it right here, a payment plan where I can get my TRL. And I believe that can happen now. Never in my life have I ever believed that could happen, but I believe that can happen now. And that's just what I'm going to strive for, to do that, get my child support under order, and just live a normal life. That's what I like to do.
Okay. I'm going to see if my colleagues have any questions for you now. James, did you have any questions?
How you doing this morning, Mr. Edwards?
Morning. I'm doing all right. How about you?
I'm doing pretty good, pretty good. I was hearing you sharing with my colleague about going through a roller coaster with your involvement with corrections and stuff. Why do you feel that's why do you feel you have made choices and decisions to deal with this roller coaster type of situation you've been in?
Well, for me, it's when I'm on parole, and then I'll make a mistake, and then I'll just say, fuck it, you know, excuse me, but I'll just give up. You know, earlier in life, especially when I was younger, it was a lot easier for me to do it. Now I realize that what's really going on is I need to just make the right choices so I don't have to go on the run, or don't have to have problems with my parole officer, and then therefore driving is one of my biggest problems, you know, because I'll get a driving charge and then it just spirals out of control, just like this last time. I got a driving charge, they got a warrant out for me, and it's just getting old, man. I'm just tired of this. It's just what's up.
Okay. And personally, I don't mind the expletive. I mean, it gets direct to the point. So You know, when people say F it, we want to we want to be able to understand that mindset, you know, because we do see that you're decommit. We do see that you've had experience with this process. We do see that overlap of decisions and choices that's been made. So, you know, we're just looking at where are you today? Because I'm gonna be honest, part of your body language is still like that effort mode. You know, when you were sharing with my colleague about your position and what things that you say you're tired of. So I'm just trying to get an understanding of who you are today that you wasn't before being locked up, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, honestly, this whole deal, I've been trying to put my best foot forward whenever I get out of here, because this here is a clown show. The whole, me being in this penitentiary, my life has been a clown show, because it's just embarrassing. Now my kid's 21 years old, she's looking at her dad, she's like, and that's just, honestly, it's just embarrassing as hell. Even to talk about it, it's embarrassing, because I wasted my whole life and not her life. Her and I's relationship's amazing still, which I'm super thankful for that. And at the same time, I've been trying to put my best foot forward what's going on, so I got me which for some reason I'm trying to understand why it was denied, but I had a parole address that was 100 miles away from where I'm from. The land is this place, and this guy's a successful businessman, and I was going there, and the parole officer went there and approved the deal, and now I'm told that it's not approved, and that's another thing I just don't understand. It's like, this is a $1,200 a week job. I'm living on the job site, so I don't have to drive. I thought I had my best plan, put my best foot forward, you know. And I'm trying to understand that as well, because I had my heart set on that's what I was going to do. I'm going to make my best thing going on, going to pay them $1,800, get my driver's license, be able to move forward, and that's what's going on. Not that I can't do that anyway, but honestly, I had my heart set on that. That's what was going on, and I'm still not understanding why that isn't going through, you know, and that's just one thing that's going on with me.
Okay. And now I really appreciate you being transparent, because I sensed your frustration. I sensed your frustration when you were talking to my colleague. I sensed your body language when you were talking to my colleague, that you were going through the motions and you really didn't want to talk to us because you still had this on your heart of a decision that we collectively made. Is that fair to say?
That is fair to say.
Okay. So I want you to understand this. When we get information and we get insight that pertains to not just you, but people that are going to be released back into the state, it is our jobs to evaluate that process. And if we see red flags within that process, not knowing what you feel or what you sense, we still collectively have to come to an understanding and an agreement that that is the best place for you to be. Now, if there's some history with that person that you're trying to parole to, then that's going to raise some red flags if that person has some history. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. However, I don't know anything about that this guy could have any sort of history. All I know about the man is he's a successful businessman. He offered me a job, and that's just all I really know about him, you know. That's just the truth of the matter. So in my heart, I had said that, you know, it just seemed like the best idea to live on the job site, go to work. But however, I don't really know what the problem is, and I guess that's what I was asking. What is the issue? But however, it's my life, and that's just what I wanted to do.
Right. And our biggest thing is to minimize any potential possibilities. We want to minimize that because you have a history of saying fuck it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So when we have a history of an individual that's a decommit that says fuck it, we have to make sure that the placement is the best interest for our well-being, because we have a mission statement which deals with public safety. And when an individual has history, then you best to believe we're going to do our due diligence so that we can make sure that that transition more so for you is minimizing the risk.
I can respect that.
I hope so. With that being said, I'm going to conclude my questions, but I hope you have a understanding. But now, even though that was kind of direct, I hope you can put it in a holistic understanding from our position. Okay, holistic. And if you don't know that, then ask your counselor to share that with you, what her take is on the holistic approach. Thank you.
Thank you, James. Jesse, did you have questions?
I do. Hello, Mr. Edwards. How are you today?
I'm good. How you getting along?
All right. Thank you. So I'm going to ask you a couple tough questions. It's because I need to know, and I appreciate your answers so far. You've had at least 5 revocations. What has been the issue for you that if you had a pinpoint that made you feel on supervision?
Driving.
Just driving.
The majority of it, correct. Yeah, it's been a driving. Like I get pulled over driving, call my parole officer. Like this last time, I called my parole officer, let him know about it. They put a warrant out for arrest, and there I was. You know. Drugs. As far as drugs earlier in life, it would be drugs. I couldn't quit doing drugs because I thought I was smarter than everything anybody else. You know, to be honest with you. And nowadays, it's just I know it isn't worth it to me because it's I'm getting old, man. That's what's up.
So, okay, I respect that answer. So I know that you had a K2 incident that happened in late January. For me, what were you thinking that made you decide to use at that time inside?
Well, just trying to pass time, I suppose. You know, I haven't done it since. I'm not. It's ignorant, really, is what it is.
I'm not trying to make you feel bad. I'm just trying to understand, you know, and really this is not a roast right now. It's just, I'm just trying to understand is freedom important to you?
Extremely important.
Okay, then why do the things that hinder your freedom? That's my real question is every step you make, you got to work a little bit, like almost double hard because of your jacket, because of, you know, your past. You even have gang affiliation with the Peckerwoods, which, you know, they don't have a good name. How long you been active with them?
Never been active with them. That's been a clown show since whenever they put it on the computer. I've done everything I can to try to get it off the computer. I don't even understand why I'm even on there. That's embarrassing to even involve my name with a clown show like that, to be honest with you. And it does irritate me, and I have tried to get a hold of whenever I was in Clearinda and everywhere I've ever been. Anytime I've ever heard that I'm affiliated with any clown show like that, it irritates me, you know. So I don't know what I got to do to get it off my record, but I've never been involved in no clown, period, you know. And as you can see, it irritates me because I've heard it multiple times, and it just is what it is, you know. It's just.
That's fair. And, you know, I'm just reading with the information I have. That's why I ask you, because I want to hear from you. And if you're willing to denounce that you're not a part of that, I believe you. I really do. So I appreciate that. Let me see here. My last question is for you is, what do you feel is going to be different? What if you are trying to pass time? What if you're depressed? What if the job ain't going well? What if your relationship starts to falter? What are you going to go to? That's my question for you, my friend.
My whole goal is to get the driver's license that's been hindering me. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to work. I'm going to get that driver's license because this is lame as hell sitting around here doing nothing with my life. I'm 40 years old, 41 now. And it's just what it is. So I'm going to try and get this driver's license, make my best foot forward to get this done. If I fuck up, I'm going to just deal with the problem instead of going on around dealing with it. I'm just going to deal with the problem, tell my co-officer we can do whatever you want. I got fucked up, or do whatever the fuck it is. And that's just how my life's going to go at 41 years old. And that's just what it is. You know, my kid's 21 years old. She's in college. Everything's groovy. Me and her have a relationship's the best right now. And I couldn't ever deal with her looking at me like I'm a dumbass ever again. So that's just what I'm going to do.
So basically, you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay. Hey, thank you for answering the questions I did have. I appreciate that.
You have a good day. I thank you for your time.
You as well. Take care.
All right, James, did you have any follow-up questions?
No,
No? All right.
no.
So, Mr. Edwards, now's the time. Is there anything else you'd like us to know or you'd like us to think about before we make a decision? Your turn.
I'd like you to know that I've done everything asked of me since I've been here. Been in and out of trouble. I haven't been doing anything wrong. I have a plan to go to this three-quarter house. When I get out of here, gonna have a job with my best foot forward, and realize that life is not as bad as it's not as difficult as I've always thought it was going to be. You know, because I always just kind of looked at it and been overwhelmed with the whole situation. However, nowadays they put things forward like the driving thing. I feel that I can get a driver's license, which my whole life I've never felt that I could. You know, so that's what I'm striving for. I can get that, get my child support in order, and I got to just pay it and get it out of the way. It's just what I got to do to have a successful life and move forward, and that's just what it is. You know, however, it needs to be done. That's what I'm going to do, and I appreciate you guys' time today, and you have a good one. Thanks.
All right, is there anything else?
Nope.
All right, we'll sit back and listen. We're going to chat, and I'll be right back with you. All right, colleagues, what would you like to do? Jesse or James?
I'll go first. You know, at first, I think the whole thing of communication is understanding. I didn't have full understanding of Mr. Edwards at first. My colleague James picked it up on his body language, how he's coming across. But then with a little bit of explanation, I'm to the point where I understand. He's at the point where it's a good point. I think he's sick and tired of being sick and tired. He didn't sugarcoat anything. I appreciate that. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm not sure where we're going to release him to, whether it be the work release or a three-quarter house, but I'm in agreement to release. And the codes I would put down would be the PG, if it is a parole, or WRG, if it's going to work release, with the 40A substance abuse and for no alcohol, period. And the 20B.
Okay. James.
Okay, 58 prohibition. Did you say 48?
48 with substance abuse.
Substance? Okay. Yeah, I can go ahead and go. I could sense that Mr. Edwards was frustrated. And maybe a part of it is frustrated with decisions and the amount of time that he's made with the decisions to be where he's at, frustrated being where he's at, looking at alternatives in his mindset that he feels that is best for him. But it raised questions from what we assessed with the person that he was looking to be paroled to. I get frustrations, but I also get a piece of humility. Humility in the fact that it's the choices and decisions that an individual makes to put them in a position. Listening to my colleagues, listening to my colleague hear what his impression is. I will defer what my original decision was going to be in light of giving him an opportunity, meaning Mr. Edwards, to parole to whatever transitional or whatever residential or whatever placement that suits the board and DOC. Therefore, when we can figure that out, I will agree with the initial interim of what DOC's recommendation to parole, whether it's a PG or a WRG C11P, And then also have the same codes, a 40A with substance abuse. Do we need to enter a 20B with no early discharge?
I did say 20B.
Oh, 20B, okay, 20B and then a 50A with prohibition.
Okay. So what we're going to do, we don't have a location. We're going to go with the WRG C11P to work release. They can submit a change decision on the back end if they find a 10C placement that they need to move to, and then they can just move them. Because so we'll go today to work release granted, and then we'll go, and if they find a different location, we can change it on the backside before we release the building. So that'll be that. I thought this was a good interview, Mr. Edwards. I realize that we have made your life frustrating, and that's not our intent. And so I'm sorry that you didn't get the communication that you were hoping for to understand what some of those delays have been. But I think you did a good job today explaining your frustration. You did a nice job of just owning that and telling us what we needed to hear. So thank you for that. I do appreciate also that you have a plan, that you have some hope of what you want to do, what you're looking forward to. And so it sounds like you're really tired of this life and want to make some changes. So I'm very grateful for all of that information today. So we're going to move you forward to work release unless we find something different. That's where we're going to start today to get the codes cleaned up, and then we can change it if necessary. And then on the 40A, you'll have substance use to continue working on that, because that does seem to be one of the biggest triggers for you ended up back here. Continue on your path of being sober. And then finally, you'll also have a 20B. You'll stay on paper for your parole because of how many times that we have not been successful. So we want you to have a successful completion through your date. And last but not least, 50A, which is an alcohol prohibition, meaning that we don't need you drinking it, hanging out in places where it's primarily sold, like liquor stores and bars. You can go to restaurants. You understand what we're asking of you today?
I believe I do. If I get accepted to a three-quarter house, is that an option to
Yes.
what you're saying?
If you can get that placement accomplished, we'll just do what's called a change decision. And before you leave the building, you'll go to the right place. But since we don't have a place for you to go today, we're going to start with saying work release in general, but then we can change it on the backside, okay?
I'm waiting for an application to come back, that's why.
Yep, so we can get it switched over if you get your application back the way you want it. All right? All right.
Thank you.
Good luck to you. That concludes our interview. Thank you.
You have a good day, thanks.
Take care, Mr. Edwards.
You too. Good to go?
Of a victim. I know you said that.
Hello. Hello, Jesselyn?
Yes,
Okay. Mr. Hodges?
yes.
All right. Is anything different than what you have submitted for us?
No, sir.
No, sir? Okay. I mean, well, hey, let me see. Colleagues, do you have anything for Jesselyn?
How's his mental health? That's what I want to know.
Good.
Thank you.
Renee?
I do have one question. Is he still on track to finish at the end of the month?
Thursday, actually.
They'll finish it when? Thursday this week?
Yep.
Okay. Wonderful. Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Anything else, Kyle? All right. Hey, Justin, you can bring them on in.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Can you please state your full name and your state number, please?
Antonio Hodges, 626-2528. Antonio Marquez Hodges, my bad.
Say that again.
Antonio Marquez, I didn't say my middle name at first.
I'm about to say, man, you leaving out something. All right. What you see before you, we represent the Iowa Board of Parole. My name is James Moses. To my left is Jesse Rincon. And in the screen, you have Renee Schulte. Okay. So we are the panel for you today. This is a public forum where the public and the media can listen in, but however, they're unable to participate. During the course of this interview, personal and confidential information may be discussed. That's including but not limited to your medical history, your mental health history, your treatment history, as well as other confidential information. Is that what you are to understand today?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Are you really willing to proceed?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So with that being said, part of the process is that what we're going to do is have you share with us what were the things that led you to being incarcerated. All right. What was going on in your life? Share with us. Be candid. Be open. And then during that, I may have some questions. After I have some questions, then I'll pass it off to my colleagues. They may have some questions. After they have some questions, then what I will do is turn it back over to you to provide any last parting of information that came up during the conversation that took place that you wanted to share, but you forgot to share maybe. You'll get a chance to share that with us towards the end. And then after that, when you conclude that, we will have you sit back, relax, not participate, but you'll get a chance to hear us go into deliberations where you'll hear us communicate by, talking with you about what we're going to decide from the information you provided us. And then once we, finish with our communication, our deliberation, I'll come back to you and then be ready to try to explain to you decisions that came down for what is the outcome for this interview today.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Okay. So with that being said, I wanted you to get started. Can you share with us what were some of those things and that was going on that led to you being incarcerated?
Okay, well, first off, I was with a group of people, a couple guys rather, and it was just like we was out doing illegal things, like basically selling drugs or whatever. And this guy told me I had him in the car with me, and we was drinking, just riding around or whatever. And me thinking that it's normal routine, he told me to go a place, and as I went there, he got out the car. I'm thinking he's doing his usual thing, whatever. Me not knowing what was actually going on, he told me to go around the block. I go around the block. I come back to get him. He jumps in my car and tells me to follow behind his car. As I'm following this car, he tells me to go around the car. As I go around the car, he starts shooting inside the car. I pull off, we go, after the shooting happened or whatever, we pull off, we go somewhere else. But before that, there was another prior incident happened before that as well. It was another different shooting that happened before that. But But the second shooting, like I said, I didn't know nothing about that. But the first shooting, I kind of knew about it, but I didn't know it was going to happen. I was there. We pulled up. He told me to pull up on this guy. As we pulled up, I seen him. The guy shot at us first, and this guy shot back. So during this time, the second event that happened, that's when he told me to go to the victim's house, that the lady that passed, the deceased that passed. And I didn't know where we was going, like I said. But we was drinking. Basically, I wasn't aware of what was actually going on at the second event. But the first event I kind of knew about, but I didn't think it was going to be a shooting. He told me to go there, and we went there. Basically, me just hanging with the wrong group of people, not actually being aware of what was going on at the time, knowing what was about to happen. I put myself in the wrong situation by dealing with the wrong people when I shouldn't have been doing that. I tried to surround myself around people that was doing the same thing that I was doing, but they wasn't doing any positive things. And I got stuck inside of that. Me being up here from Mississippi, I have no family or nobody like that, so I was dependent on the streets to substitute for the family that I needed at the time. And I just got wrapped up into some things by dealing with drugs, that type of lifestyle.
Yeah. When I hear you say you was drinking, and this was a drug deal, how much alcohol are we talking about?
I can't give you a exact amount of alcohol, but I mean, like, it was like we had just started drinking earlier that day. It was probably maybe a pint, but we was previous drinking like from the night before, so it was rolled over into the next morning type of thing. We had just went out partying, so it was like previous rolling over to the next day.
Okay. Okay. So when I hear you say pint, what was we drinking?
Hennessy, Remy Martin.
Anything else?
No, sir. Just Hennessy and Remy Martin.
Okay. We'll pick this back up. We have, I'm gonna turn this over to Heather Artis, our victim liaison, and we have a victim that's going to be able to speak to your case. And so what we'll just have you to do is just sit back, don't engage or state anything to the victim, but just sit back, listen up, and then I'll come back to you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Wendy, I am going to promote you to panelist. If you could accept that, please. Perfect. Once that is accepted, you can choose to leave your camera off or turn it on. Go ahead and unmute. And you can begin when you're ready. Please keep your statement directed towards the board. Thank you.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk. I have been wanting to make a statement for a long time. I want to say that I cannot speak for the rest of my family. We don't feel the same way about him being released. My family is very, very wounded and still traumatized, all of them. And the thought of my daughter getting killed and 4 years later somebody could be back out on the street is more than any of them can take, because it feels to them like my daughter's life meant nothing if somebody could kill them and now 4 years later they're out. I myself feel differently. Although I do want to, afterwards, after saying how I feel, I want to say some of the trauma that my family has gone through. Myself, I feel that it's very, very easy to understand what happened exactly the way Antonio just described it, because I know plenty of guys, and my son was that way, that are out in the street running around with their buddies. And I know that loyalty to your friends is a very high value. So I have always written in my own mind what I thought probably happened, which is exactly what he just said. So they shot the first guy and just got him in the foot. So I figured that even though he knew that, I thought he probably knew that they were going to be shooting at my daughter's car because they were not able to get a hold of the person they really had a beef with. He's an over the road trucker and in and out, and he was doing a good job of staying out of their way. And apparently he had shot up the other guy's family in the car, and nobody died. So I just figured that he probably knew they were going to shoot up my daughter's car, but he was being loyal to his friend, and he probably never dreamed that somebody would get killed. I was there when my grandbaby, who was in the car with my daughter when she got killed, made her forget what it's called, deposition. And right after that was when Antonio decided to take a plea and tell us what had happened. And that meant so much to me because all I really needed out of the whole event, my daughter was gone, but what I really needed was confirmation that what people on the street had told us was actually what happened. And that's what he gave us. And he has been working at Animosa, I'm sure you know, because the kids are all getting a check from him every couple months. The other guy who actually killed her has never gotten a job, so I don't know whether he wasn't able to or didn't want to. I don't know. But I felt at the time, and I still feel, that seeing this beautiful young girl so traumatized by seeing her mom get killed in front of her face really turned him around. And maybe I'm wrong, but that's how I interpret it. And since he's a young person, if he could get out of this environment and go back to Mississippi, I didn't know where he was from, but go back to Mississippi or anywhere besides here and just get a new start, I feel that he could do something good with his life. He's young. So that's my opinion. And I'm fine with him getting released, although I think everyone is still so fearful. Now I'll get into what happened to my family. Was that the whole thing happened on April of 2020, right at the beginning of the pandemic. So they were all shut into our house, and everybody out on the street was wearing a mask. So all of us walking around on the street didn't know if we were standing next to him, who we thought at the time, they were saying it's because he was driving the car and it was his girlfriend's car and all that. Everybody thought he was the person who killed her. So we didn't know, are we standing next to you at the Family Dollar? You know what I mean? It was just horrifying for a long time until he gave his statement and explained what had happened, and we understood the story then. But we had heard it on the street, but we didn't know who was the shooter. We didn't know any of that. And so all we knew was that unnamed and unknown 3 people were out there. Maybe we're sitting next to them on the bus. It was horrible, 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 horrible. And all the kids failed that year. And the one that was in the car has never recovered. The boy has never recovered, the teenage boy. One of the older kids is doing good. The baby is 6 now, and like right over there on his place, Maddie wrote, "I love you, Mom," couple days ago, he wrote that on there, but he doesn't remember his mom. And it's been very traumatic for everyone. And when I asked them, did they want to make a statement? They were like, what? He might get out? And everybody feels that way except for me. And I think I don't, because my son did a lot of bad stuff, and I understood him as a person, and I knew him as a person, and that's why I think I really feel the same way towards him, that he's young and there's time for him to live a different life. I think that's my whole statement.
Thank you, Wendy. Thank you for sharing that. We are going to put you back as an attendee, and you can go ahead and remain on and listen to the rest of the interview. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Wendy, for
Thank
that.
you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Hodges, when you hear that sharing to you and what the victim felt, share with us what do you feel about that?
First off, I want to say my condolences to the family. I am sorry and I thank you for forgiveness. I personally, I never wanted anything to happen to Miss Catherine. There was no plans about any of this that like I said, that happened. It was just a spur of the moment type of thing. And myself personally, I've never been into any type of shooting of anyone. I was a victim of being shot myself before. So, I never had any type of violence. I never been in any type of trouble besides, like I said, my thing was just dealing drugs. That's all I ever done. That's, basically me being in a gang. I've never been part of that. Like I said, I thank you for forgiveness. And like I said, me being there was just me not being aware of actually what was going on. We had no plans of actually doing anything of that nature. Nothing was never discussed to harm Miss Bobby. Like I said, when he told me I'm thinking it was just a natural thing of like if we go somewhere, he'll get out the car, go in the house, do what he do, we'll come back and pick him up. He never discussed what he was about to do. He never said anything of that nature. And myself, I have had a family member that has passed the same way, and it hurt me, it traumatized me, because one of my female cousins has got killed the same way, and my family is still grieving from that, because we actually don't know, we never got justice behind that. We don't know who actually killed her. And I have kids now as well. So me at the time, I didn't have my kids present. So me now knowing how my kids suffer, and it could have been one of their moms or something like that, it truly bothers me that Miss Bobby lost her life, an innocent lady that lost her life for no reason. I never condone any type of things like that dealing with women or kids or nobody really. I don't want to see nobody get killed. I apologize, like I said, from the bottom of my heart. I'm wrong for actually having that type of people around me, that group of crowd around me. And I know now that I was just trying to depend on the streets to give me the support I need when I really didn't need the streets. I feel like me getting out, I got my mind together. I've been able to sit in here, think about what I've done, think about the people that was just using me for what I could do for them. Me doing just to have people around me. I didn't have any family up here. So I was accepting anybody that accepted me at the time for what they could do for me and what I could do for them. I was just trying to fill the void of not actually having my own family up here with me. And I feel like me getting away from Des Moines, from Iowa, I feel like me going back home to my actual support system would be an actual good thing for me. I won't have to depend upon the streets. I will have my actual family to get on me about the things that I've done or, will be doing. So if I start to slip, I know my father, my mom, my grandmother, they want to accept it. They're all Christian family. So they're heavily into the church. They're heavily in the church. So they don't condone any type of thing, this type of stuff. So that was one of the reasons I left Mississippi to get on my own, thinking I was grown. Like I said, Miss Wendy, I want to apologize again to you and your family. And I'm very sorry that this happened to your daughter. I never want to see this to happen to any type of person that's living. I don't want to see that, especially your grandkids without their mom at an early age. That's terrible because I got kids now, so it bothers me for my kids to have their mother taken away from them, and I don't want that for nobody.
Saw that you completed active. Give me 3 values that you have today that you didn't have before being locked up.
Well, my 3 values are first, family, my health, and I want to make sure that my kids have a better lifestyle than I have. I want to make sure they know that family is first, and you don't have to depend on the streets. So those are my 3 things: to make sure my family's good, make sure I have, provide for my family, wealth to provide for my family. I want to make sure my health is good.
I'm gonna conclude there and let my colleagues partake and see who wants to partake. Jesse.
Yes, thank you. Well, Mr. Hodges, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing fine, sir. How are you doing?
Good, thank you. First of all, I want to say to Wendy, you're a beautiful person. It took a lot of courage to say what you said, and it was well appreciated. So my question to you, Mr. Hodges, is what makes you feel comfortable if you are released? What makes you feel comfortable that you're going to do well?
Well, first of all, like I said, I'm not going back to the same thing that I'm going to. I will actually have my actual support system that will make me do the things that need to be done. Me being up here on my own, I felt like I was, grown, and I wanted to just do whatever I wanted to do. Me going home with my parents and my grandmother, they won't allow me to just run the streets and do whatever I want to do. Back home is more of a family. You listen to your family. So like I said, I didn't have anybody to get up on me and tell me, no, that's gonna cause you this, you will pay the price for that type of things. I was just living life on my own, doing what I wanted to do. I got a better head on myself to know now that I have kids. I need to be out there to take care of my kids. When I call my kids and my daughter and my son, Daddy, when you're coming home, Daddy, I want to see you. I don't have that opportunity to be like, yeah, I come get you this weekend, or I take you here to the park or do this and that. Me being incarcerated has taught me a lot of things about what's more important to me, what I need to be out there doing. And it made me, like I said, realize what wasn't right for me since I've been in here and the group that I was choosing to be around. So even in here, I limit myself to guys in here. I don't hang with a group of people. I've been reading like financial books and trying to get my financial literacy together. I'm also trying to I want to get out and open my own business up. So I got a good head on my shoulders to realize what's more important, what are my values, and what really matters the most to take care of what I need to do to take care of my family.
It's a great answer. I appreciate that. What did you take from MRT?
Well, I only got halfway through MRT. I was an actor. But MRT, I think both of them can align together as far as making me realize my past. It opens my eyes up to see what wasn't working for me and what maybe could be working for me. It's a plan to let me know all the wrong necessary things I was doing. So they ask you personal things like what matters the most, your plans, what was the thing that you was doing wrong? If you can go back and correct it now that you have the chance to think about it, what are some of the things that you would redo? MIT just basically, it helps you get the moral thinking together. It's moral therapy recognition. So it just basically opens your mind up to basically think about all the things that could happen possible in the future, or it makes you think about the mistakes that you made in the past and what would you do different from those mistakes.
Well, for not getting all the way through it, you got a pretty good grasp of it. That's
Yes,
a great
sir.
explanation. I appreciate that. I'm gonna leave you with this. You said at one time you were relying on the streets, and there's a saying that says sidewalks were made because people aren't supposed to be in the streets.
Yes, sir.
That makes sense?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. I have no more questions for you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Jesse. Renee, do you have any questions?
I do, thank you. I apologize for not being in the main room today. I sound funny and I'm coughing a lot. So if I hit mute, that's what's happening.
That's fine.
My questions are for you related to your alcohol use. What would you think about how much were you drinking? Do you think you have a problem with alcohol? Talk to me about that.
I don't have a problem. I just started, I started drinking once I violated my parole. I was stressed out every day. I wasn't able to move. Well, before this prior incident, I had went on the run for a high-speed chase that I did. But it was after that, that's when I started drinking heavy. I couldn't go nowhere. I was feeling like I was secluded in the house. So me just being there with no one around me, I turned to drinking. And I felt like that was resolving or making up for the things that I couldn't do. I would just feel more relaxed if I can drink. I won't have to deal with anyone. So I don't think I have a drinking problem, but it did happen like regularly once I finally got on the run and I didn't feel like I had to go see my parole officer anymore or I couldn't work. That's what I relied to. I went to drinking alcohol heavily. I don't think me getting out, I don't want to drink no more because I know what it led to. Like I said, it led to me going through this situation, me depending upon the wrong group of people, me allowing the wrong type of group to come around me to just want to have someone to be social. Me going to work every day, me having my kids, that would matter to me most. So I would have something to substitute from not just sitting around all day. You know what I'm saying? Like me going to work, me being active in my kids' life, I don't think I would have the time to just sit there and want to drink all day because I need to be alert and be focused upon to do what I need to do for them.
Thank you for that. Also, you have some mental health history. Talk to me about that. And are you on any medications for that?
Yes, ma'am. I've been dealing with depression. Like I said, me being away from, like I said, the alcohol was what was helping me at the time. So when I got locked up, I still felt like I was, I didn't have anyone. I was feeling lonely. I was seeing things in jail that was happening to people. My family, like I was missing them. I was actually missing being around people. So I felt like I couldn't sleep at night. I was up, anxious, nervous about the courts. Me seeing actually the shooting happen, that triggered me, that bothered me as well because I never seen no one get shot before. Besides myself, I have been shot, and it's like it bothered me a lot to actually go through all these traumatic different things that happen.
Okay, so you do understand, right, that alcohol is a depressant?
Yes, ma'am.
That's not going to help you feel better if that's a tendency that you have. So you probably shouldn't combine those things, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, because that's going to be probably when we talk about codes here in a minute. We're going to talk more about that. But I appreciate you answering my question. And a nice job today.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, James.
Hey, thanks, Renee. All right, Mr. Hodges, this is where I turn it back over to you. And now you get a chance to share with us any parting information that you felt you didn't share with each of us. Here's your chance to share what that insight is to you before we go into deliberations.
Okay, yes. Like I said, I want to apologize to the family again, and I want to thank Ms. Wendy for giving me the chance to actually, you know, for forgiveness. You know, I've been, like I said, I've been taking this chance, and over these last 3.5 years, I have realized a lot, and I have changed a lot. I'm not a bad person, like I said. I haven't done any violence in my life. I don't really condone into that type of stuff. Um, I ask you guys to give me the chance to get out, to do what needs to be done, to take care of my family, to show the community that I have changed and I have evolved to be a man. I want to be a man for my family, for myself, and for the community. I also want to be able to get out and be able to talk to youth to let them know the type of situation that I've been through and what they don't have to go through. This has really opened my eyes up to see a lot of different things, a lot of different guys that's in prison for life. And you know, and I don't want to see no one else. Being in prison is a rough place. And I've seen a lot of different things. I've seen people hang themselves. I've seen people fight, stabbed up. And this is not a place for no man or woman to be at. So I ask you guys to give me and grant me the chance of parole to show I have evolved and that I am willing to be a man.
Thank you, Mr. Hodges. And now you'll sit back, not engage, but just sit back, listen to us. We're getting ready to go into deliberations to talk about the interview. All right?
Yes, sir.
Colleagues, anyone wants to go first?
I can if you like. I thought it was an excellent interview. I'm blown away by the victim statement still. I think his answers were natural and they weren't rehearsed and genuine. So I think he has a good plan and going to where he's going to go, I think will work for him. So I'm in agreement with the DOC recommendation to parole, I believe to his father's house, with the PGD3. I'd be adding the PG
D55.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. Thank you very much. D55 for the compact, 48 for substance abuse and mental health and med compliance, and the 50A for no alcohol, and the 20B.
All right. All right. Thank you, Jesse. Renee?
Yeah, I too thought this was a good interview. I want to thank Wendy also for explaining both sides of the story from her family's perspective, and I understand that's difficult for everyone in a family, so thank you for that. You did a really nice job today, Mr. Hodges' interview, so thank you. I'm in agreement with the department's recommendation for Mrs. Dad's in Mississippi, the 20B, the 40A for mental health, substance use, medication compliance, and the 50.
Okay. Thank you, Renee. I will inform Mr. Hodges of our decision. All right. Mr. Hodges, you had a chance to hear both of my colleagues share what their impression was, and you didn't hear mine because I'm in agreement with what they stated. All right. I too thought that this was a good interview. I thought you were being very transparent. As one of my colleagues said, I thought you were being genuine and authentic. And as my other colleague said, well, both of them, this was a great interview. You really did a good job. You appeared to be very engaged into all the things that is needed to help you to be better. Beforehand, I would like to just extend my deepest condolences and thank Wendy for taking the time to be able to leave a forgiving message to us and to you, extended to you, Mr. Hodges, on where she is at personally from where a lot of people in her family is at. So I'm very commendable towards what Wendy shared with us today. Therefore, going forward, we are in agreement with DOC's recommendation to parole you to your dad in Glenwood, Mississippi, but to the state of Mississippi. So that is coded a PG D55 with the interstate compact. Okay. The 20B is for no early discharge, so you will go the full time frame of your discharge date until your discharge date. The 40A There was the substance abuse, as well as the medication compliance, that we want you to stay medically compliant, and the mental health. You know, you've gone through various different traumas, you've had some different diagnoses, and so it is just good for you to continue your work with the professionals so that you can talk through the traumatic things that you have been experiencing, that you've encountered. And then the 50A is just prohibition. We don't want you in no liquor stores. Definitely, we don't want you with no Hennessy or no Remy. All right. And we want you to stay away from those liquor stores or any establishment where the primary source of income is liquor or alcohol related. Now, you can be in restaurants that serve food, but if you go into those establishments that primary source of income is alcohol, then we definitely want you to avoid those places, if that makes sense. All right. Other than that, that will conclude this interview. And thank you, Mr. Hodges, and want to wish you the best of luck.
Thank you, Howard. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right.
Have a good day.
You too.
Team, I'm gonna take 5 minutes.
Question.
Yes, yes.
So Mr. Parks did not go to his medical appointment today. Would you still be able to interview him this morning?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just give us 5 minutes. We're gonna take a quick break. All right, thank
Yeah,
you.
you keep smiling like that. We'll do it.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, Jesselyn.
Good morning again.
Good morning again. So he made it back. So is there anything new we need to know besides he's back?
No, he also, like Mr. Hodges, will be finishing active on Thursday.
On Thursday. Perfect.
Yes. Yeah.
Hey, colleagues, do you have any questions?
I don't.
I think we can go bring him in. Thank you.
All right.
Oh, Mr. Parks, you made it. How are you?
How y'all doing today?
Good, good. Please state your name and your state number for us.
Jermani Park, 6929636.
All right, thank you. I'm gonna explain the process, okay?
Okay.
All right, so my name is Jesse Rincon. My colleagues today are James Moses, and on the screen you'll see Renee Schulte. We'll be conducting your interview today. This interview that's conducted is considered to be in a public forum, meaning the public and the media can listen in, but they cannot participate. We could possibly discuss your confidential information such as your mental health, substance abuse history, and medical history. Do you understand this, or are you willing to proceed?
Yes, sir.
All right. So how this works, I'll start off by asking you to describe the crime in detail, what was going on in your life at the time, whatever brought you back to prison. After that, my colleagues and myself might have a few questions for you to answer. After we complete our question, I'll ask you if you have anything for the board that you would like us to know, or anything that you prepared. After that, then we'll go into what's called deliberation, meaning we're going to make a decision. You'll be able to hear us at that time, but not participate, just listen. When we're done deliberating, making that decision, I'll come back to you and explain our decision, okay?
Okay.
All right, so the best you can with detail, tell me what brought you to prison here.
Well, I had a probation violation, or I ran from the halfway house.
Okay. Was there anything that was going on that day? Were you using anything like that?
No.
Why'd you leave?
Just made a mistake. I don't know. Thought about the streets.
Say that again. What was the last part about the streets?
I just thought about going home, being home.
Right. Do you regret that decision?
I regret it.
Okay. Did anybody try to convince you to leave, or was it just your own decision?
It was just my decision.
Okay. So what's changed about you now from that time?
I just sat back and think about what I'm missing out on. I'm missing out on family, kids.
You have kids?
Yeah.
How many kids you have?
One.
One? Boy or girl?
Boy.
How old?
5.
5. What do you want that child to remember about you, if anything?
Can you repeat that again?
So what would you like your child to remember about you when he gets older? What's he gonna say about his dad? What do you want him to think about you?
Think I'm a good dad to him?
And how do you think that being a good dad, what do you have to do to become a good dad?
I gotta be there for him, be in his life.
That's right. That's right. You gotta be there for him. So whose idea was it to commit the crime?
My decision.
Your decision? Nobody else talked you into it at all?
No.
Were you gangbanging at all?
No, sir.
Have you ever?
No.
Just hang out with them?
Just hanging out with you.
Okay. Who do you have in your life for structure? Somebody you could talk to?
Grandma, auntie, mother, uncle. I got a good support system.
Okay. Would they be willing to tell you the truth to your face?
Yes.
Okay. Are you a little bit nervous today?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, just take a beat. We're going to get you through this. Just take a deep breath and just answer your best you can with some detail, okay? You took active class, or you're in active class. Are you getting anything out of that?
Yeah.
Tell me what you're getting out of there.
Learning how to control my actions, my emotions. Learning what to do when I'm in a situation.
So when you're having all those unwanted thoughts, feelings, and emotions, instead of being angry, instead of drinking or using drugs, what can you do if you're not feeling or things ain't going well?
I'll take a walk, go to the gym or something.
So you have a plan.
Yeah,
And you're gonna be ready if that comes up, right?
I'm gonna be ready.
Okay. I have no more questions for you. I'm gonna turn it over to my colleague Renee.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Morning, Mr. Parks. How you doing?
Good morning, man.
Good. My allergies are killing me, so if I stop talking and start choking in the middle, sorry. I'm doing my best. Can you talk to me about your mental health? How are you doing? Are you a little anxious, depressed? What's going on?
Just a little anxious to get out.
Say that again.
Just a little anxious.
A little anxious. Is that kind of normal to feel that way for you, or more
Repeat
so
that.
just today?
Can you repeat that again?
Okay. So have you struggled with anxiety in the past?
Not really.
Not really. Okay. And I was looking, it said you use a little bit of substances. Can you talk to me about that? What kind of substances have you used before?
Just marijuana.
Marijuana. And how did that go for you? You're gonna continue to use marijuana? You're not gonna use marijuana? What are you gonna do?
I'm gonna stop due to my my heart condition. I can't use my drugs really.
Okay. So you have a heart condition and that makes it worse?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So are you in need of support for your mental health in the future? Do you think you want somebody to talk to help you on the outside make good decisions?
Yeah.
You do? Yeah. That's probably a good idea. Sometimes we use things like marijuana to try to make ourselves feel better, and it can mess some other stuff up. So having a good support. So you mentioned that you have good support. You have a lot of family where you're going to be headed.
I got a lot of them.
You do? And are they all supportive of you coming back?
Yeah, they all support me.
Yeah. Are they excited to have you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that where your kids are too? Kids are
No.
there? Or no, kids are here?
In Davenport, yeah.
Okay. And so what is your plans with that relationship?
I ain't figured it out yet, but I'm gonna figure it out.
You're going to figure it out. Do you have any no contact orders against anybody there? No?
I ain't got
Okay. But something you can figure out? All right. Talk to me about school. What have you been doing in school?
They just wrote me, so
Yeah.
trying to pass the writing test.
Okay. Is that something you want to keep working on and keep finishing?
Yeah, I'm gonna finish when I get out. I'm trying to get my GED.
Yeah. I said it's really important. I think you a lot of good jobs out there, right? So it sounds like that's something you've been working on. So you want to keep working on that, right?
Yeah, I was supposed to graduate in the world, but I had got incarcerated. So they said they were gonna try to get a hold of my credits and see if they can let me get my GED.
Yeah. So you were working almost got it done, right? And then you got incarcerated. So you can't be very far off. Just a little bit more.
Yeah, just a little bit more.
Good. All right. I'm glad to hear that's a good plan for you. I thank you for answering my questions. I don't think I have.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Renee. James, you have any questions?
Yeah, I have a couple. How you doing this morning, Mr. Parks?
How you doing, sir?
Hey, doing good, man. Doing good. Hey, you're doing active, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Give me 3 things that you value today that you didn't value prior to being incarcerated.
Family, my mental health, my health.
Okay. 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 I think those are huge. That can keep you solid towards the relationship that you want to build with your kids, the relationship that you want to have with yourself to navigate through, the work ethic, working out, taking care of your mental health when you're dealing with stresses and anxieties and frustrations. You look like a person that like to listen to some music.
Yeah, I love music.
Oh, I see. You're cheesing like Chester with your smile, baby. So in essence, Listening to music also is another value, for yourself. All right. Other than that, that's all I need from you today, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, James. My last question for you, Mr. Parks, is what do you do to make you happy besides music? What do you do for yourself?
Talk to family. Like, what do you mean, like in the world or in here?
In the world.
I like going on vacations, traveling.
Are you always quiet?
Yeah, I'm quiet. I'm
Okay. There's no problem. There's nothing wrong with that. I just asking, I get it. At this time, colleagues, do you guys have any other questions or follow-up?
No.
Oh, okay. All right, thank you. All right, Mr. Parks, if you have anything you'd like the board to know before we go into deliberation, meaning we're gonna make a decision, you got the floor if he wants to know anything.
I'm good, it's fine.
You're good? Okay. Man of many words. All right, I appreciate that. Okay, at this time, we're gonna go into deliberation. Just sit back and listen. When we're done with our decision, I'll come back to you and explain it, okay?
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you. Colleagues, who would like to go first on this one?
I can go first.
Thank you,
I thought
Renee.
that was a good interview. I appreciate a man of few words. I like it. So he was doing a great job. What I recommend for the coding would be a parole out of state to Georgia. I believe should have 20B. On the 40A, I'm thinking we should have mental health, substance use, medication compliance, and a high set, and the 50A.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. I too like the interview. I like the man of a few words as well. I think Mr. Parks like to prove things through his actions as opposed to speaking to it. Because sometimes we can flap our gums and we can talk it, but we can't do it. So I'll be looking forward to that action. Therefore, I'm in agreement with DOC's recommendation. With that being said, a PG D55 to Georgia, to his grandparents. 20B, no early discharge. The 40A with the codes, the substance abuse, the mental health, med compliance, as well as the high set, and then the 50A.
50A. Thank you, James. Second. Okay, Mr. Parks, I haven't given my decision, but I'm gonna give it to you. I am in agreement with the DOC recommendation. I think that you have a good opportunity. I think that you're a serious person, and I think it's time to get serious about your life, I wish you well. We are gonna parole you to your grandparents' house in Georgia. So the codes that we mentioned will be a PD55, meaning you're going to another state. The 40A is a treatment code that we want you to get a substance abuse evaluation, mental health evaluation, stay on your meds. Also, we have a 50A. We don't want you drinking, period. If you're taking meds and drink, it just doesn't work out very well. And so we're just gonna say no drinking, period. No bars, no liquor stores, okay? Do you have any questions?
All right.
Well, we wish you well. Smile every day and you'll be fine. Okay? All right, take care.
Good luck, Mr. Parks.
You too. That's it, man.
All right, colleagues, are we ready for Mr. Hickman? Yes, thumbs up.
Yes. We had mute on accidentally.
It's okay. All right, Jesselyn, are you hanging out for Michelle this time?
I'm done. Just thank you for your time.
Nice. All right, you're spending all day with us today. Okay, so on Mr. Hickman, was there anything new that she might have left for you that we need to know?
Yes. So right after he was granted an interview, Mr. Hickman was segregated for passing K2. He went through the appeal process. He was found guilty. He appealed the report to our administration, and they dropped it, reduced it to a minor. So going ahead as planned with the work release with him, but I just wanted to bring that to your attention if you guys hadn't seen it.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Colleagues, did you have any questions?
I do. Why was it reduced?
Excuse me?
Why was that reduced? What was the finding?
Sorry, I barely hear you. I'm trying to turn up the volume.
No, no worries. Why was that reduced?
So I briefly read through the appeal that he put in. The basic of the appeal on the major report. Didn't find any new evidence, but was reduced by the deputy warden. It's just reduced to a minor. There was no other description in it other than that.
Okay. Fair enough. Thank you.
You bet.
All right. If there's no further questions, well, you can go ahead and bring Mr. Hickman in.
All right. Let me just have a seat there. They're a little bit hard to hear, so.
Hello, Mr. Hickman. Can you give us your full name and number, please?
Corey Lee Hickman, 646-9628.
Thank you, sir. And have you been in front of the Board of Parole before?
No.
All right. Let me help explain how it's going to go. So what you have today in front of you is your 3-member panel of the Board of Parole. My name's Renee Schulte, and I'm on one screen, mostly because I'm coughing and I have a stuffy nose. So if I have to hit the mute button, I'm sorry. That's what's happening.
Okay.
On the other screen, you see our 2 guys today. It's Jesse Rincon and James Moses. So we're going to be your 3-member panel of your board. Okay.
Okay.
And before we get going any further, we want to just remind you, this is a public forum in that on the Zoom, the public and the media can be listening, but they're not going to participate. Okay.
Yeah.
And in the conclusion of this meeting, you might talk about some confidential things like your mental health history, your medical history, your treatment history. Are you okay with that for your interview?
Yeah.
And you want to keep going?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So how this is going to work, the 3 of us are going to ask you some questions, and then we're just going to ask you to do your best and tell us the truth. And then after we're done, it'll be your turn, and you can tell us anything you want us to know, anything we forgot to ask, anything you've been thinking about you want us to hear. And then we make a decision. You'll be able to see us and hear us talk about it, and I'll tell you exactly what we're going to do by the end of the interview. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. So to get us started today, can you talk to me about the crime that was committed that brought you to prison today?
It was so I was previously on probation for a domestic, and then I had caught a new charge, which I was hanging out with my neighbor at the time, and I was under the influence and I was intoxicated, and I thought he was trying to like set me up, and I took his firearm, and I'm like, man, I feel like you're on some weird stuff, and I didn't have permission, you know what I'm saying? So I took it, and then I left the apartment, and then later on I came back because I lived right next door, and the police was there, and they tried to stop me. They asked me like who I was, and I told him a different name, and then he told me to stop, but I had took off, and later on, the route I had ran, I had threw the gun, and they found the gun, which was the neighbors, and so I had got like interference with official acts with a firearm, dominion, trafficking, and like person ineligible to carry, but it all had got dropped to dominion and control of a firearm and interference with official acts with a firearm. And that's what brought me to prison. And then I had the probation. They had put the probation with that, and I ended up getting an 8 years sentence.
Okay, thank you so much. That was very helpful. So you've gotten into quite a bit of trouble since you've been in prison. Can you talk to me about what's going on with that?
Yeah, well, see, once I got to Mount Pleasant, I was just, I wasn't taking, I was just like, man, forget whatever happens. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't thinking the way I should have been thinking. As far as like, my mindset was, I'll be home one day. You know what I'm saying? They can't hold me forever. So I was really doing whatever I wanted. I didn't want to, you couldn't tell me nothing. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, it was a lot of things that just added up, like OPAs. And then I had said, I had asked the CO a crazy question. I just not thinking about what I really should have been thinking about. You know what I'm saying? So then once I got to Anamosa, it's just like, man, it just started to wear on me. Like, you know what I'm saying? I gotta do something different. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking it's gonna just be I'll be out in like a year, and then I start to realize like time's going. You know what I'm saying? So once I got to Anamosa, I had a better mindset than I did since I've been here. I caught 2 reports in Mount Pleasant. I had like 12. You know what I'm saying? So in Mount Pleasant, I was just like, whatever happens, happens. Y'all can't hold me forever. But then once I got here, I learned like, man, I got stuff going on out there. I need to be out there.
All right. So you made a change in your mindset. Can you talk to me about victims in this case? Who are your victims? You know how many of them there are?
Well, I know the domestic is y'all will consider that still my case, right? Because I was on probation for it.
Yes, sir. It's
okay,
still charged. That's right.
Yep. So I got Alexis Davis was the one I had caught the domestic on, and then Jonathan, I don't know his last name, but that was my neighbor, the one that I had got the gun from. And yeah, those are the only 2 victims I have as far as like the cases.
Okay. Do you have any relationship with either of them today?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, I think that's all my questions for right now. I'm going to turn it over to my colleagues. So Jesse, would you have additional questions?
Yeah, I do. They show you validate. Hi, I'm Jesse. First off, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you. They have you validated as a vice lord. How active are you now?
No,
do you have a 5-point star or 4-point star tattoos anywhere?
No.
You do not?
No. Nowhere. I got 5 tattoos. I got my mom's name on my hand, my dad's name on my right. I got a puzzle piece right here.
No, you know what? That's my fault. I scrolled down too far, and I apologize to you. That's my fault.
Okay.
Okay. Get back here. So, in your relationship, you had some domestic charges. What do you think went wrong that the talking didn't work and they had to go to violence on those domestic charges?
Alcohol.
Alcohol?
Yeah, just not. See, the first domestic, I didn't do. I had broke her phone, and they charged that it was a simple assault. And then the second one, I busted out her windows, and when she had got in, she even said it like the trash can cut her, and they charged that with a domestic also. But it was alcohol, me not, you know what I'm saying, not controlling my feelings the way I should have.
Okay. So how much would you say, would you consider yourself an alcoholic?
Not necessarily. And the only reason I see around all this time, and this ain't an excuse, but I was just really like messed up. My mom had passed, and see, my mom was like the glue of the family. I don't really know my aunts and uncles and stuff, so my mom was the one to keep things together. You know what I'm saying? So it is an excuse because I'm still a grown man at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? But I wasn't handling it the way I wasn't grieving the way I was supposed to, you know what I'm saying?
Right. And I am sorry about the loss of your mom.
I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. What do you want to accomplish you haven't accomplished yet?
Man, I wanna be able to pay my dad and my brother's bills, their rent, because that's who I got left right now. And my dad had a stroke, and he's slowly recovering from it. He had a stroke in 2012, but he still live with us, like he's still learning how to talk and stuff. And my brother, he got shot like 5 times, and he was supposed to be paralyzed, but he's slowly coming back from it too. So I gotta be there for them. Like they can't even walk across the street properly without, you know what I'm saying? So I wanna be able to, if they need anything, be there. That's like my main focus, you know what I'm saying? And do the things that they need help doing.
That makes sense. But you understand that for you to be there, you got to make good decisions on your part first. You got to start with you. That way, anything good that filters out of you is going to be good, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. Last thing I just want to mention is that it said that in your evaluation that was submitted to us for our information to do this interview, that you're going to make tip 4 pretty soon. That's that's a great accomplishment compared to where you were a year ago. So I just want to commend you on that for working hard and trying to establish that reputation.
Thank you.
Thank you. I have no more questions. Go ahead and answer.
No,
yes,
I'm tip 4 now too.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Jesse. James, did you have questions?
No, I'm a pass.
Okay. All right. So, Mr. Hickman, now is the time for you to tell us anything that you want us to know that maybe you didn't get to say or something we forgot to ask you. Floor is yours.
Man, I'm ready. You know what I'm saying? I know that's bold, but what I mean by that is, like I said from the beginning, I came in here with as far as prison. I came in prison like, man, they can't hold me forever. I got a little number, you know what I'm saying? And I was selfish, you know what I'm saying? That's what it was. I was self-centered. I wasn't thinking about who I was putting in harm's way as far as like my brothers, you know what I'm saying? If something was to happen to them or my dad, I'm supposed to be the ones there. And I feel like as time went by, I just learned like the ripple effect, you know what I'm saying? Okay, by me being away, it's easy for me to be here. I mean, this place will do whatever for you, you know what I'm saying? The hard part out there, you taking care of business when you're out there and you got to do it all on your own. And I didn't realize that until like 2 years in, and my brother's like, man, I need you. I'm in here. They're doing everything for me in here. So when he told me that, it's like man, and that's all I got, my brother and my dad. So when he's telling me that, I just start thinking about the people I was affecting, and not just myself, and patience. I've been working on patience. I always react. like impulsive, you know what I'm saying? So I always try to figure out like what else is gonna have the domino effect. Or I could easily go and do this, but then the people that's gonna have to pay for it ain't just me. And I feel like I got a lot of patience from that, and the support system that I have, as far as like the people, a couple of my homegirls, they're great support systems. You know what I'm saying? They don't want me to be doing the things I did. Another thing is like I never had the feeling of like, man, I can't wait to get a job. Never ever in my life. And like I feel like that now, like man, I want to get a job. You know what I'm saying? But just like little stuff like that, I could see the change within myself. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, man, I know it's all easier said than done, but I know I got a strong mind. I never been the type to follow, so I know when I want something, I can get it. You know what I'm saying? And I truly believe I want this for the better, for my brother, for my dad. This is my first time ever being down, so I ain't never witnessed none of this. You know what I'm saying? But I could tell you what, I don't want to come back. But and I learned about like, man, just the bigger picture. That's the main thing. Like it ain't. I'm not the only one getting hurt in this situation. You know what I'm saying? It's more people. I lost my best friend, and it's just like, man, life is still going on, and I'm in here messing around. You know what I'm saying? Just thinking, oh, I won't be gone forever. But that I was just childish. You know what I'm saying? I matured a lot. I know every action got consequences, and at first I knew that, but I didn't care about that. Now I actually care about other people for the most part. You know what I'm saying? I'm not one situation can affect everybody, and I wasn't looking at it like that at all.
All right. Well, thank you. Appreciate that. So for you to sit back, just take a deep breath and hang out. We're going to chat amongst ourselves, and I'll be right back with you, okay?
Okay.
All right, colleagues, what would you guys like to do today?
Yes, I can go ahead and go. I thought Mr. Hickman was definitely trying to be as transparent with us as he could. He realizes some of the mistakes that he has made early on. He talked about when he went to Mount Pleasant initially, he had the I don't give a care attitude and just was, flying by the wayside or the seat of his pants, doing whatever he felt that he wanted to do. But once he got a chance to transition to Anamosa, he seemed to have stated he's grown up a bit. He recognized that he's missing out on time. But we're recognizing missing out on time, his brother, his family, and the people that mean the most to him. And he's doing things to keep himself locked up. So wanting to stay away from those type of tendencies and think that this opportunity, if released, will be good for him because he knows better. Therefore, I'm in agreement with the DOC's recommendation to a work release. So I guess we're looking at a WRG C11P. I also would look at the 20B for no early discharge, the 40A with substance abuse, and if you all think of any more, along with the 50A as well. And then if there's any other codes that I did leave out, I'm open to hearing what you all's thoughts are for Mr. Hickman.
Thank you, James. Jesse?
Yeah, thank you. I think you had a really good interview. He didn't minimize anything from the gun to the incident to what he was doing before and changing. I think the main thing he's realized the cost benefit, and that's huge for me. I understand that how you affect others, and he even said himself, the ripple effect, the domino effect is what he said. So I'm in agreement with the DOC recommendation. Same codes that James had said, although I would add mental health. I don't believe he takes any medication.
No, I don't.
All right, thank you.
Okay. So I'm in agreement also, so we'll deliver our decision and I'll explain it as we go. So Mr. Hickman, what we're going to do today is we're going to release you to work release. We're going to add a couple of treatment codes just to make sure you get the support that you need on the way out. So we're going to ask you to continue on your path of substance use, and we're going to ask you to check in with mental health and see if they can be a support to you. If you go and they decide you don't need anything, you don't have to keep going. So it's no big deal, but they're just out there as a support in case you need something. And then finally, we're going to give you a 50A. That's an alcohol prohibition. You don't need to be drinking it, and you should not be hanging out in places where it's primarily sold. So like liquor stores and bars. You can go to restaurants where it's served. Okay? That concludes our interview. Go out and do well, okay?
Thank you.
Wish you well.
Thank you.
Yep.
Good luck. Hello.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah. It's Jason, right?
Justin.
Justin, I'm sorry. Okay. All right. Thank you, Justin. Is there anything to add on Mr. Brian Clark?
Let me get, so you do meet Jason, so let me go grab him and he'll be right in.
Oh, okay. Hey, Justin, don't be playing with me like that.
All
you know
right,
what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
He's right here.
Yeah, it's like.
Ooh. Sorry about that. I was trying to get another Zoom meeting going.
Hey, no problem, no problem. I just learned you're Jason and not Justin.
Yep. Yep. Well, we're both bald. Yeah, we look a lot alike. Inmates sometimes think we do. Yeah.
Hey, how long y'all been working together?
He's been here about 15 years. I'm in my 28th.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm about
that's why you all
months to
foster.
discharge.
Oh.
Thank God.
How many months?
15.
All right, congratulations.
Yeah.
Look at you. You got it down.
I'm ready. It's a great job. I'm tired.
Well, hey, as long as you keep smiling like that on your countdown, you're gonna be all right.
All you can do, yeah, for sure.
Hey, so with Mr. Clark, is there
Yes.
anything else that we need to know from the last time since you submitted this evaluation?
No, he's been maintaining and being stable. I know they were going back and forth with me on some mental health stuff. He will be doing services out of Vera French out of Davenport, but there's no real programs available down there, unfortunately. It's, as you guys know, it's rough sometimes. So
Yeah, no, okay. Well, no, that's helpful, whatever that information shared. So thank you. And colleagues, anything for Jason?
I do not.
Okay. Nothing for Renee with the shake. All right.
Okay.
Hey, bring them on in.
Yep, I sure will.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing okay. How about
Hey,
you?
good. Hey, man, I'm doing pretty good. Pretty good. Thanks for asking.
That's
Before we get started, can you state your full name and your state number, please?
Yes. Brian Clark, 6123866.
Okay. What's your middle name, Brian?
Luther.
All right, there we go. Oh, I get some teeth right there. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. All right. Hey, we are live, and before you is the Iowa Board of Parole. My name is James Moses.
Okay.
To my left and to your right is Jesse Rincon, and in your screen is Renee Schulte.
Okay.
All right. And we are the board panel for you today. This is a public forum, so the public and the media can listen in. However, they are unable to participate. Things that will look to be discussed during this interview, personal and confidential information that we can discuss. But it's not limited to your medical history, mental health history, treatment history, or other confidential information. Is that what you are to understand of this interview?
Yes.
And do you wish to continue? Proceed?
Yes.
All right. So with that being said, how this is going to go, I will start off by asking you some questions. And then when I'm done, or if I choose to, let others contribute, then I'll pass it on and then come back with some further questions. I'll pass it to my colleagues. Each of them will have some questions for you. Then, if there's no other questions from them or myself, then what I will do is turn it back over to you to share with us any parting information that came up during questioning, but you didn't feel that you got a chance to share with us. You'll get that time to do it during your closing. And what you'll state to us before we go into what we call deliberations, that's where you would sit back, not be communicative to us, but you would sit back and just listen to us, have our discussion, and deliberate what we were able to gather from our impressions throughout our answers from you. And then once we conclude, then I will come back to you to try to discuss with you how everything turned out and if it is favorable towards what you are looking for today. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
All right. So with that being said, can you tell us kind of what was going on, what was happening that led to you being incarcerated?
When I was in Mount Pleasant, my counselor was recommending for me to go at work release to Davenport. And I had a support system that was in Des Moines. So when I had seen the board last time, they told me that they didn't see no paperwork stating that for a diversion to Des Moines. So I told my counselor beforehand, which I shouldn't have said it, but I did. I told her that I'm not going to Davenport because that's not where my support system's at. She said, well, if you get out, you're going to get an escape. I said, allegedly, I would be charged. So I went to Des Moines instead of Davenport, which I was supposed to go to Davenport work release. I went on the run, and I stayed on the run for 6 months. And I had a job. I had my own place, but not in the right way. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was not the correct way that I was supposed to do things. I got locked up, and here it is 3 years later. I'm still locked up on a violation due to my mistakes that I made in previous institutions. Been gone 3 years. I regret everything that I did. My actions caused a lot of people to leave my life, and for me to be stuck in prison still. So I've changed my way of thinking a lot. I did active, and it taught me a lot of things about myself. And it also has taught me that my actions don't just reflect on me, it reflects around everybody that's around me.
Mm-hmm. That was very transparent, and just off of first impressions, Mr. Clark, I appreciate you sharing that. I can kind of gather a sense of how challenging and how difficult that was when you initially thought that your best place to be was Des Moines, as opposed to what was recommended at the time.
Yes, sir.
So is it fair to say today, do you have a better understanding of why that diversion was in place?
Yes.
Do you? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And do you also understand with that diversion, it didn't necessarily mean that eventually you couldn't come back to Des Moines. It just was something that was in place for your well-being?
And you're right. That's what I found out down the line.
Okay. You want to speak a little bit to that?
Yeah. So my case, my original case, I really hurt somebody, like really bad, and it was over a young lady getting raped, and I found out that it was a lie. So, like, me right now, as I speak, I was scared to go to Davenport at one time because I was scared of myself, what was going to happen if I go back to Clinton and I see these people. And it took me a long time to come within myself to forgive a lot of people that did me not the right way, you know. As I speak right now, I can sit there and say that I have changed my ways and I have become a better man. And I know the past is the past. Right now it's the present. And I want to get out, get a job, get my own things, get my own place, get my own car. I want to work at Sterilite, go to 605 in Davenport. And right now I'm kind of nervous, you know what I'm saying? I don't know, like, it's hard for me to speak sometimes. When I was in Des Moines, I got a hold of the wrong people, and I became a drug addict really bad. And I found myself waking up in a ditch in Waukee. I don't know if you know where that is, but Waukee, that's right outside of it. And I surrounded myself with the wrong people. So, like, my counselor asked me if I want to go to 605, and I said yes, because I am now ready for change. And back then, I wasn't ready for change. I wasn't ready to do the right thing. I just wanted to get out, do whatever, you know what I'm saying? But that's not how I feel right now. I want to get out, get my own stuff, and live the right life, you know? Life I can wake up, look forward to waking up to the next morning, you know?
I think you are establishing the foundational pieces that helps you to, be able to stand firm, and where you potentially can be transitioning to, if you work with the people that that really can, support you and be what I'm seeing from you today, you'll be able to build on that foundation. It's almost kind of like in Iowa, we like farming.
Yeah.
You plant those seeds, and them seeds, and then we wait for Mother Nature to, help with the harvest.
Yes.
And so those foundational pillars and people that you can put around you to support you can be the best interests towards your journey, towards your growth, that can help you navigate to where you want to go.
Thank you.
With that being said, I'm going to stop my questioning and then turn this over to my colleagues and wonder if, Jesse, do you have any words?
Yeah, I do. Thank you. Hello, Mr. Clark. I'm Jesse. Nice to meet you.
Hello, nice to meet you.
You know, it's always my question, because formerly I was a PO, is like, why would somebody leave work release when you're almost there? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you kind of helped me understand that by saying something that's tough to say in front of your people is that you were scared for what you might do.
Yes.
How have you come to realization, or what is your plan? Because you got to visualize just in case it happens. If you do run into somebody,
yes.
What if you do run into somebody? Have you played that in your head?
Yes.
How does it turn out?
It turns out that I forgive him.
Amen. Okay. I appreciate that.
I forgive everybody. And I also, myself too, I was
that was my next question, because true growth starts with you.
Yes.
And you do have to start there, believe it or not.
Right.
What do you want to do that's completely different than you've done? What is something you just want to try or do that's completely different than the life that you've known for yourself, for the better?
Get a real job, have my own apartment, and believe it or not, I want to go around to residential homes for juveniles and give them my testimony, because I grew up in the system. Since I was 10 years old, I've been in the system, and I've been through foster homes, group homes, stuff like that. And I know if I give them my testimony that they can stop before they get started. And I always wanted to do that. I wanted to write a book, let the world know that if you really try to change from one person to another, it can be done.
I agree. I agree. In this business, I've seen people make some good change, and I've seen some people just say stuff just to hear themselves talk.
Yes.
But when when you're serious, when you close your eyes at night, that if the truth or what your intentions are, you know what those intentions are before you even act on them. Besides your values in active class, what really stuck out for you?
Family.
Family. Who do you have left that's your family?
I don't know.
You don't know. Mom, dad, brothers, sisters?
I wrote my dad, no response. my brother, he lives in Georgia, living his life. My sister, she lives in Freeport, Illinois. And like I lost touch with my family when I was a little kid. And like I've said stuff over the years a couple times to my father, right? Try to get him to write me and stuff like that, but nothing ever, comes back.
I say this to you because I've been in this business for a while, since '96. And what I've seen is what family is waiting for is consistency. They just want to see that you've had a good run of consistency of trying. Once you see that, everything else just seems to come together. So just stay encouraged, okay? I have no more questions for you, and thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Jesse. Turn this over to my other colleague, Renee. You have anything?
I do. Hi there, Mr. Clark. How are you?
How are you doing?
Good. I'm on a different screen because I'm choking and coughing with allergies.
Okay.
I can hit a mute button here. I can't.
Get better.
So sorry about that. And I sound a little funny. So anyway, could you talk to me about, I think you're on some medications for some different things, especially you've had some struggles in the mental health space. Can you talk to me about that and how are you doing today?
So when I got locked up, like I said, I didn't have nobody helping me out. And I admit, I was cheeking my pills and stuff like that. I'm not going to sit there and lie to you. I was cheeking my pills because that's how I was surviving. You know what I'm saying? But now I have a job. I'm on the medications that I'm supposed to be on that is actually taking time to help me more than hurt me. And I learned that about mental health. And I mean, I don't know. Sometimes I have some issues with. I keep thinking people saying my name, but it's not that. And that's the medication. That's the kind of medication that I'm on. It's antipsychotic, but it does help me throughout my day. It gets me through my day, and I really plan on when I get out to get a hold of Vera French and Davenport. And reach out so I can get a therapist and probably maybe see if that my medication can keep going that way.
Yep, that'd be really good for you. So my background is in mental health, and they can help you learn like how to be able to pick out which of those voices are real and not real, and help you be able to be able to sort that out. Because that's very challenging. And if you're not on your medication, and right, you've been there. It's very hard to know what you're being told, and who's saying it and what I'm supposed to do and all those different things. So I'm really glad that you've found something that's working for you, that keeps you stable. I mean, it's going to be a really big piece of your future, and being successful is going to help you, make good choices. So thank you for that. What about drug use? How long have you been sober?
I've been sober for 3 years since I've been locked up.
Right. And what are your plans in that space? Do you have some ideas what you want to do to keep healthy there?
I'm gonna get out. I'm planning on going to AA and NA because I was an alcoholic also. So and I've gone to AA in here, and it helps me. It just takes me into a different environment, the prison environment. It's like a positive circle that I can go to, that I don't have to hear all this yard gossip and stuff like that. That helps me a lot.
Yep. Okay. Have you ever had a sponsor before?
No.
Is that something you might be interested in?
Yes.
Finding somebody that can help you along the journey?
Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for answering my questions. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Renee. Okay, Mr. Clark, this is where I give you the floor back. You get a chance to share with us any last bits of information to share before we go into deliberations and communicate on this interview.
I just want to say, on my original charge, I learned one thing about my charge, and that there's a reason why you call 911. And if I could go back and change what I did, I would. And that's about it.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. Now you get a chance to sit back, listen to us. We get a chance to talk about what you've shared. And then I will try to come back to you and explain and try to break it down to your understanding.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Colleagues, anyone wants to go first?
I can. I think Mr. Clark had a really good interview. But it was really important for me to understand his answer. If he's in Davenport, runs into somebody, he's played this through his head, and he didn't hesitate on that. I forgive them. That's a lot. For me, that weighs heavy. I think that mental health, his medications down is going to be key as well. It's not a sign of weakness. It's just like having a sponsor. It's something's going to keep you accountable for your actions, pretty much. And so I agree with the DOC recommendation to release to work release WRGC 11P with the 40A for substance abuse, also with mental health, medication compliance, and the 50A for no alcohol.
Okay. All right. All right. Renee.
Yeah, I thought this was a really good interview, and I didn't get to say this a while ago, but I think if you have the opportunity to give your testimony to youth, you need to do that. That was my specialty. I worked in the youth side for the therapy side of that, and they absolutely need to hear your story. So please continue down that path. That'll be a really good purpose, and it really would give back. Or write a book. I'd read it. I'll be your first one. And so I too am going to agree with the department's recommendation. A work release granted, the same codes, I think, and I don't think there's anything extra. So substance use, mental health, med compliance, 50.
Okay. And we don't need to do a 20B?
I don't think so, because it's an A commit and it's kind of a little ways out there.
Okay. All right. No. Great stuff. And then it's the substance abuse, mental health, and med compliance. All right. Well, I will go back and explain ours to Mr. Clark. Mr. Clark,
Yes.
as you got a chance to hear my colleagues speak, you got a chance to hear what they come to appreciate about this interview. You didn't get a chance to hear my part because I'm in agreement with them. I was, as I started off saying, I was pretty impressed with this interview. Your temperament says a lot about you. Your tone and how you communicate and convey your transparency in terms of your testimony, that was very nice to hear and see. And you present a genuine authenticity about yourself. So when you hear my colleague talk about, yes, share your story with whom all that would be appreciative of the information you have to provide, and doing a book, I too will be in line to hear that, because it's important for just not only your well-being, but for those that are going through challenges and struggles, as you said, throughout your early years, teen years of your life. The other part that I would add before I go ahead and read you these codes is continue your effort in your pursuit with the relationships that you want to establish, so that if it is family, your consistency, as my colleague tried to state, will help with that. You know, a lot of times we as people, we look at more bad than good. Well, you got a little bit more of good you have to build up to outweigh the bad. You ever heard of an expression called being stuck on stupid?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, probably you have family that, you know, is stuck on some things that you used to do, and they're trying to maybe gauge to see how serious is Mr. Clark today than what he told us in his past.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's an acronym that I like to portray, and it's KISS. I don't stop at the S, I add the S just to keep myself in line, and that's keep it simple, stupid. So just something, you know, however you want to use that, so be it. With that being said, the codes that were shared is we are in agreement with DOC's recommendation to your work release. So that is coded as a WRG C11P. All right. The next is a 40A, and that is with substance abuse to maintain, that continued work and growth, your mental health, so your well-being and being able to, talk and work with a specialist and stuff, and then medication compliance, just making sure that you're doing your due diligence to stay medically compliant. One of my colleagues mentioned a sponsor, you being open to a sponsor, that is helpful as well. So that is a part of that 40A. And then the 50A is just prohibition, alcohol. We don't want you going into liquor stores. And primarily, I mean, we know that there are restaurants out there that do serve alcohol and serve liquor, but we would like for you to avoid those establishments whose primary source is alcohol related, just to keep you safe and keep you in the right direction towards, where you are stating that you want to go. All right. So those are the codes for you today. Appreciate the interview and wishing you the best of luck, but that concludes our interview.
All right, thank you.
Have a good day.
Good luck.
You guys have a good day too.
Hello.
Morning.
Morning. Jake, correct?
Yes.
How you doing today?
Good. You?
Good, thank you.
Good.
So we have Mr. Randolph up next.
Yes. Mr. Randolph.
Any changes?
No. I just wanted to make sure I do have a note here. I'm going to go through a few things, but I wanted you guys to be aware specifically of that institutional psychology mental health note that I attached in the plan. There was kind of a pretty specific case for him as far as his mental health history goes. There was that prior civil commitment that he had when he was housed with us earlier on in his sentence. He has since been removed from that in 2023. And I wanted to expand on that. Since he's been with us, he came to us in January of 23. And during the first several months of being with us, he was very reserved, very quiet. not a behavioral concern, but still kind of working with psychology to get his mental health and medications kind of ironed out. And once that did occur, definitely things were on the upturn for him as far as socially, job assignment wise. Got a lot of good remarks from his supervisors in our dietary department. Had nothing but good things to say about him. Really productive worker down there, and really communicative, which is nice to see kind of that shift from when he came to us to how he's behaving and interacting with staff and other individuals alike now. So that's really good to see.
So is he working his way off of medication, or is he still on the meds?
No, he has. He has since worked his way completely off medications.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. So as far as the charges go, the perjury charge that was involving some false statements that he made to a 911 dispatcher in 2014, and the burglary and domestic assault charges were in tandem for an incident that occurred in 2016. Some damage to some personal property and entering a residence and physically assaulting several persons in the residence. Came to Oakdale in 2017, like I said, to us in January of 23. He has not had any report discipline concerns since 2020. In the beginning of his incarceration, from the looks of it, after a review of his guilty hearing decisions, he's had 6, and most of them were pretty serious. Lots of fighting, lots of disruptive conduct, lots of refusing orders. But after 2020 to now, there has been no concern whatsoever, behavioral-wise, which is good. Plan is for Sioux City, the work release facility there. He's got his sister and her family in the Sioux City area, and he also has a biological child across the river in the Omaha area.
Perfect. Thank you. I appreciate that explanation. That helps a lot.
You bet.
Before we get started, I'm gonna ask my colleagues if they have any questions for you.
I don't.
I don't, and thanks, kudos. Appreciate that breakdown. That's really is very helpful to each of us.
Very. So with that, we can go ahead and bring him in and get started.
Sounds great.
Thank you.
You bet.
Oh, good morning. How are you today?
I'm doing okay.
Good, thank you. Please state your name and give me your state number as well.
Jamal Levon Randolph, 6129374.
Thank you, Mr. Randolph. I appreciate that. I'm just going to explain how this all goes, okay? All right, so first of all, my name is Jesse Rincon. My colleagues today are Renee Schulte, she's up on the screen, and James Moses will be conducting your interview today. This interview is considered to be a public forum, meaning that the public and the media can listen, but they cannot participate. We can possibly discuss confidential information such as your mental health, substance abuse, or your medical history. Do you understand this, and are you willing to proceed?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So how this works, I'll start off by asking you to describe the crime in detail, what was going on in your life at that time that brought you to prison. After that, my colleagues and myself might have some questions for you to answer. Please answer in detail, but briefly. After we completed our questioning, I'll ask you if you have anything for the board that you'd like us to know that you haven't had a chance to say or prepared something. When we're done with that, we'll go into what's called deliberation, meaning we're going to make a decision. Once we make a decision, I'll come back to you and explain the decision, okay?
Okay.
So, 2 things. Your counselor said you've made some good changes. I want you to know that so you can settle down a little bit and breathe a little easier as you answer these questions. But he gave a good report on you, that you've made some significant changes. Where I want to start is, what brought you to prison? What was going on in your life? Go ahead and let me know.
I met the wrong female, and I was working a job, doing the right thing, taking care of my family. and she kept surprising me, and I didn't know how to walk away and leave her alone.
So what happened?
I caught her with a dude, and we ended up in the altercation, and I went in the house, and we started arguing, and I got a burglary charge and domestic violence.
Okay. So before we brought you in the room, your counselor said that, you know, when you first got there, things were kind of off the charts there for a little bit for you, but then all of a sudden it seems like you got your medication dialed in and things are changing. What would you attribute that good change to?
Myself.
Okay.
Myself.
Why?
I wanted to improve myself in my life and try to do the right thing for myself.
So when you were getting into some of them fights inside, what was some of the things that would cause you to go all the way in like that?
Pride and things like that.
And what makes you able to walk away from a fight now?
Accept and know how to let situations go without being aggressive with things.
Okay. Do you feel good about that? Being able to make that decision?
Yes, sir.
And how would you say you get along with others inside at this time?
I get along good.
Well, that's good to hear. And how do you occupy your time?
Well, I work and I do a little reading.
What kind of work are you doing inside?
I work in the kitchen.
Okay. Are you a cook or a server?
Server.
Okay. And what is your biggest obstacle in life right now? What's the hardest thing for you to get to?
The hardest. Well, I really haven't had no obstacle that's hard that I couldn't overcome. Eventually, I overcome whatever obstacle that I'm faced with.
Okay. And for my last question, how important is it for you to take your medication?
I take my medication every day. It's good because I got a bad heart and my diabetes medicine.
Good, good. And you're pretty diligent to take that daily, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And what else do I have for you? What are some of your goals that you hope to achieve once you're out?
I'm gonna go back to school and get my CDLs.
Okay. Have you ever tried before?
No, this is my first time. I thought about it years ago, but I was able to get my driver's license back. I didn't have a driver's license.
So you currently have your driver's license?
Yeah, I got my driver's license.
That's step one.
They probably expired now because I've been locked up for a long time.
Right.
But I got my driver's license. I'm gonna pursue CDL.
Good, good. I have no more questions for you at this time. I'm gonna pass it to my colleagues, see if they have any. Renee?
Okay.
Yeah. Hi, Mr. Randolph. How are you?
All right.
Sorry, I'm not in the big room today. I'm sounding funny and I start coughing a lot, so I have to be close to my mute button. So sorry about that. Thank you for answering the questions so far. You've been very good. I have a question related to the you said you got in a relationship with the wrong female. What is your relationship with that female today?
I don't have a relationship with her.
Okay. So, and then she was the victim of the crime, right?
Yeah.
Right. Involvement and all that. So you have no relationship to them. Okay. Were you using any kind of drugs or alcohol at the time of your crimes?
Yeah, I was smoking weed and drinking alcohol.
Yeah. Okay. And were you smoking a lot or a little? How much we talking about?
I was smoking about a gram a day.
Okay. And how about alcohol? How much a day?
I wasn't drinking every day.
Not drinking every day, but a lot of days?
Probably on the weekend when I'm off work, watching the game or something.
Okay. So do you think you have a problem with either of those drugs?
No.
You just think you like to use them and so that you were doing it for fun?
Yeah.
Okay. And what are you going to do moving forward? Are we going to keep drinking and smoking marijuana? Or what are we going to do?
No, I'm not using drugs or alcohol anymore.
Not anymore? No. Are you doing some kind of treatment to help you with any of that?
I already took treatment.
Okay. And is that something you're going to keep working on as you move forward?
I don't have no problems with it. I'm not using it anymore.
Okay, okay, that's helpful. You were saying you want to get a CDL and you want to drive. So talk to me about who are your supports in your community? Did you say you have some family that where you're headed?
Yes, I got some nephews.
And they're supportive of your release and want to help you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. I just want to tell you that I think you've done a really good job turning your behavior around inside. I know you had a really tough start, but you've done a really good job. And I want you to know that we've reviewed all of that and we can really see that you're trying really hard. So thank you for your hard work. I appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am.
That's all my questions. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you, Renee. James?
Yes. How you doing, Mr. Randolph?
All right.
All right. Now, when I hear you say that you completed treatment and completed certain requirements, when would be the last time that you did use any illegal drugs or alcohol, drink alcohol? When would that time have been, sir?
It's been about 9 years.
About 9 years?
Yes, sir.
All right. All right. And so within the 9 years, I saw that you completed active a while ago.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
2018.
2018. Hey, good stuff. So with active, what would be 3 things that you could highlight that you value today that you didn't value 9 years ago?
Well, I value a lot of things. I value my family, my freedom, and my life.
Anything else? Like any hobbies?
Nah,
Nothing? All right. All right.
just
You was about to say?
I just value those things.
Just value those things. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, I appreciate it. And thanks for your responses. That concludes my questions to you.
Okay.
Thank you, James. Is there any follow-up, Renee? Renee, do you have any follow-up? No.
I'm sorry. No, I do not.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Randolph, at this time, like I said earlier, if you want the board to know anything or prepare anything, any other information, you got the floor.
Nah, I'm cool with everything.
You good? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate that. So this time we're going to go into deliberation, meaning we're going to make a decision. So just sit back and listen. When we're completed, I'll come back to you and explain the decision, okay?
Okay.
All right, thank you. Colleagues.
Yeah, I can go ahead and go. I was pretty pleased with the interview. The things that was highlighted initially before we got a chance to talk with Mr. Randall was very, very nice. Hearing that, the complications that he came in initially before 2020, where, prior to, he did a lot of things to transition that didn't seem like it was going to be in his favor. But since 2020, he hasn't had any reports and has been, as described, just, a person that has grown and who has worked hard. It was nice hearing Mr. Randolph looking into the future, wanting his CDL license, and then going through the process, completing active, highlighting some of his values, a couple of them, freedom and family, with life. Therefore, I'm in agreement with DOC's recommendation to work release, so WRG, C11P, the 40A, where since he's doing the righteous things, we'll look at the mental health continued and then substance abuse, although he indicated he's had 9 years of both sobriety and non-using, still just want to have him work with the professional just to continue on that journey, since those were some significant factors towards his case, as well as the 50A, and then anything else that you all feel that are deemed appropriate.
Thank you, James. Renee?
Yeah, I thought this was a good interview. I think he's made some good decisions here and he's got some plans for the future. It sounds like he is stable and in remission from all the challenges he was facing with his mental health and has worked his way to a stable position. So I'm going to support the department's recommendation for that work release. All I see on the 40A is a mental health and substance use. I think an evaluation is still appropriate in this case, even though it's been 9 years. If it's nothing else is needed, they'll say so, and then he'll be finished. So I don't think that's a big issue. And then I think the 50A would just be warranted given the history.
Thank you, Renee. Mr. Randolph, you heard those two, and I am too, and in agreement with the DOC recommendation that you go to work release. There's nothing better for the BOP to see that you came in a certain way and you ended up as we hope, and you're making some changes inside that were necessary for your benefit, not for ours, but for you. And so I just say to you that you continue investing in yourself. We are going to release you to work release with the codes that my colleagues had mentioned. It's going to be WRGC11P. That's just a code. You're going to work release. The 40A is a treatment code. We just want to get your substance abuse evaluation and mental health evaluation. Like my colleague said, that if it's not needed, it's not needed. They'll let you know right away. And also the 50A, we don't want you around any alcohol, period. So just no bars, no liquor stores, or anywhere that their main source of income is alcohol, okay?
Okay.
Do you have any questions for me?
No, sir.
Well, congratulations, and this will conclude this interview. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Good luck, Mr. Randolph.
All right.
Thank you, Anamosa.
Yep, you bet, folks. Take care.
All right, thank you.
Thanks,
Bye.
Jay.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.